Okay, good evening all. Welcome to another session of your orientation program. So today's topic is learning at your best. Okay, so okay, to begin with, I will start with this question. If you know the answer, you can tell me the answer, or you can even post it to the chat. What is the answer for the first question? The equation. What is this equation? But not in Tamil. What is this equation? How many of you can remember this equation? Huh? Nobody can remember. Is it?
වෘත්තයක චාපතික
Apple. Circumference is apple.
So
Yeah.
it's for parameter of circle, right?
Parameter of?
Perimeter of circle, sorry. Perimeter.
Yeah. Perimeter. It's the perimeter of a circle. Paridhiya in Sinhala. Isn't it? Okay, very, very basic equation. And
I forgot the called perimeter or what. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand that. So that's why that was I only I realized the word may be an issue. That's why I asked you to tell it in Sinhala, but actually I don't know the Tamil word. But I don't know Tamil basically. But idea is that, right? So the when you know the radius, that is from the center midpoint to the outer circle, right? So the straight distance from the midpoint to the perimeter, that is what R is what? What is the word? English word for R?
Radius.
That is a radius, right? So that when we know that length, then based on this equation, we can calculate the circumference. Okay. What is the middle one? 2. The one in the middle, what is that? R, and between R and 2, what is that?
Pi.
That is pi, right? So what is that? How much is that? Or what do you know? Do we have to find that also, or do we know that? Value of it. What is the value of it? 22 divided by
7.
7. Very simple things you have. So it is not after a long time you have left the school. You have forgotten this. Yes, it is 22 divided by 7. It's a constant value, right? So it won't change every time. So it's a constant value. For any circle, you can apply the same value. Only thing is R. R is a radius, and from one circle to another circle, it can be different, right? It can be, we say it varies. It can be different from first circle to circle. So based on that radius, we have a different circumference, right? Okay. Right. So that you actually knew, but in a way had forgotten to some extent, or sometimes it may be because of difficulty of translating it to English. So anyway, you know this. Huh? This is very basic thing that you have learned at school, and probably at your early days when you learned this, you may have say written that on the wall, or written that on a paper and pasted somewhere, that out of several equations, this may be one of the equations uh, that you say sort of wanted to remember. Okay, so that is there. Okay, so the second question now. Okay, again, now you know what radius is, right? So it can be the radius for a circle, and it can be a radius of a globe, right? A ball kind of a object, which is similar to the shape of the Earth, our planet Earth. Okay, so on a globe, we know several circles are there in many directions. If you slice, you will find circles. If you cut across any direction, when you look at it from the center, through the center, when you look at it, it will be a circle, right? So there you can identify the radius. Okay, so if you cut near the equator is the middle plane, in the middle, right? So we are very close to that. As Sri Lanka, we are very close to that on the Earth, right? So if you cut there, you can't actually cut it, but if you cut it there, um, can anybody remember the radius there?
It's nearly 6,000 kilometers, something like that.
Very good, very good. Yes, you can remember. It is 6,000 kilometers nearly. Yeah, and how it is recorded, there are different ways of, because the radius is not always the same for different places. So the agreed radius is given as 6,378. Okay. Okay, so that is another thing that, of course, if you go for a quiz like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Hmm? Lakshapati, right? Kind of session, this kind of a question may be asked. So if you can remember that, then you can answer. Next question. Antipodal point of Colombo. What is antipodal point? Any idea? The meaning of that? Hmm? You may not know. Okay, but I will explain. Now, antipodal point is the point of a certain place. Now, in this case, Colombo, right? So, if you take Colombo, what is there on the exact opposite side of the Earth, of our globe, right? The planet Earth, the globe, right? So, on the exact opposite side, the other side, that is, say, for example, if you dig a hole at Colombo, directly perpendicular downwards, okay, 90 degrees downwards from Colombo, okay, where will you come out on the other side of the Earth? Where? That is antipodal point, exactly on the opposite side of the Earth. Hmm? At where would you come out? Difficult question. Okay, I'll give you a hint. You will not come up inside of any of a country. I mean, any land. Which means when you come out, it will be water. So yeah. Where would it be? Give it a try. I'm not going to fail you or something. It will be one of the oceans. What is there on the other side? What is there near us? What is the ocean near us?
South
Indian Ocean.
Okay. So it is the Indian Ocean we are. Okay. So that is where we are, right? For the left hand side, we have a.
South Pacific Ocean.
Yes, it will be the very good, Kishan. You will come out in the Pacific Ocean. Okay. So, however, interestingly, it is quite closer to land. So somewhere around this, so there is a website you can actually search for antipodal points of various different places. Okay, so when you search for that of Sri Lanka, you can see now Sri Lanka is upside down here because that is the antipodal point. That is the other side, right? So it is mapped to the location of the Earth on the other side. Okay, so Colombo is interestingly very close to Colombia. So very close to Colombia, but on the Pacific Ocean. Okay, that is where you would come out. Okay, now we few things we knew, and some of the things now we learned. Now we know. Okay, before you started this session, you may not have known, but now you know. Okay, these three things. Then fourth question. What is the distance from this antipodal point, which you can see here? This point, because that is just the opposite, okay, of Colombo. So from this antipodal points, point to Colombo on the surface of Earth, roughly to near 1,000 kilometers. Anybody? From this point to Colombo on the surface of Earth. Directly we know it is 2 times this distance, right? It is about 12,700 something. Okay, that is directly. If you go down, right? But I'm asking from around the Earth. How much?
Maybe 2000. Sorry,
Huh?
20,000?
Sorry,
Nearly 20,000?
20,000.
Yes.
How did
Kilometer.
you know? How do you know?
Half of the circumferences, circumferences.
So you know the Earth's circumference is for 40,000. Did you know that?
Yeah, maybe. Yes, I know.
O or else did you do something?
No, I we know the radius of the Earth.
Okay.
So
Then
I just
calculated. Huh?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So that is what I wanted to highlight, right? So even though we do not know that, or we did not know that, we can calculate it now. Okay? Because we understand. Because we can make meanings of these things that we already now know. Okay? So knowing is, say, basically is like just remembering, like this equation, that is the very first thing that you did, right? So for you to remember it, to apply it when it is required for the exam, you know, when you write this equation, you get some marks, even though you can't do the calculation, you knew that, right? So at least, even though you can't do the calculation, you may have tried to remember it and write it there so that you can at least get that mark. Okay, so that is just remembering it. Okay, so knowledge is knowing the things like that, just remembering what it is, right? Or when say something is say as Gimshan could remember, it was 6,000 roughly. Okay, the radius. Right? So that is about knowing. Okay, just knowing. But knowing can be a bit more deeper, where you can give a meaning for that. It is meaningful. What you know is meaningful to you. Okay, then you are at the level of understanding. So since you understood, okay, this equation works like this, right? And we can use it like this. Okay, and this is a radius, and if you cut the earth at that point through the center, it is a circle, and because of that we can find the circumference of the circle using this equation, right? That understanding, right? Then the idea of antipodal points, that is they are exactly on opposite direction. That means in any direction it will be the same. That means it will be half of the total circumference. Okay, so the understanding, you can see it is more than just knowing. So when how do you know you have the understanding? That is when you are able to apply it and make new knowledge. So you understood it. We did not know what is the distance. But I did not tell you what is the distance, right? But since you understood all these three things that I presented earlier, right? Some of the things you already knew, but some of the things were new to you. Right? Since you understood these things, okay, then you were able to generate some new knowledge or solve a problem by combining these or applying these things that you need. So it is, say, if I believe you can see my calculator on screen. If not, just let me know. So it is, say, we'll go with the basic calculation. We use the same equation to get the circumference. That is 2 into 22 divided by 7 into 6,378. It is 40,090 kilometers. But we know it is a circumference, so we need the half of it. So we divide it by 2. That is 20,000. Okay, so I believe you got some idea of what understanding is, right? Compared to just knowing, right? So understanding is when you get the meaning of each point, and because of that, being able to come up with new answers. Okay, and this is linked to your intelligence also. So intelligence is your ability to learn the facts, understand the principles or the meanings of them, and apply them. So that is a characteristic that you own. Okay, that is intelligence. So knowledge is very much at the surface level. Understanding is at a deeper level where you have meanings for the things that you know, right? So intelligence is related to this, but not the next level, but intelligence is your ability to acquire that. Okay, but there is another level which is called wisdom. Wisdom tooth. So people believe wisdom comes when you become old, but of course not exactly, right? So sometimes how much old you are, you might not get the wisdom. So wisdom is what basically what differentiate a chartered quantity surveyor from the rest, from our point of view, or from our focus, because wisdom can be talked about from different points, right? So today I will explain you how you should embark on this journey to reach them. Okay, so we have the answer, and to reach that answer, you need understanding, and of course, you need intelligence. Okay, so with that, you can actually reach there. But wisdom is not easy to explain with this example, but I would say now knowing everything is understanding and combination of it, say is your understanding through your intelligence. Now you understand, if you dig a hole, right? If you dig a hole in your backyard, right? It will perpendicularly, it will be there near, or you the other side will be there near uh, Colombia in the Pacific Sea. The wisdom is you don't do that. Knowledge is that, actually. Understanding is that, yes, you will come out there. But the wisdom is you don't try it. Okay, for obvious reasons. Okay, so I wouldn't go further talking about wisdom there because it's a bit challenging to talk about. So anyway, I'll try to address it towards the end of today's session. Okay, so probably you all know me already. I'm Suranga, one of the proposed directors for the college, because our appointment is still not completed. So that's why I say proposed directors. And the task I'm assigned to, or I'm expected to take over, is the academic affairs. Okay. So this is my basic profile, but if you want to know a bit more about me, you can go to this website, suranga.net, and learn about me. So getting to know your lecturer is one of the good things or useful things when you pursue your academic career. Right, so let's get into the subject matters. If you have any questions, I recommend you to sort of ask that, or of course you can post it to the chat, but sometimes I may not see the chat immediately, right? So that disadvantage is there, but still I will look at the chat later on at least and respond to you. But good way is to directly ask, because this is not a real lesson like the other subjects, and you might feel, okay, this is not that important. No, that is not the case. These are also really, really important, because this is where you learn how to learn. So that is also important. Okay, so we'll look at a few aspects, as I mentioned, from bit of more, say, theoretical point of view, right? The ideas which I presented, knowledge. Okay, so a simple definition of knowledge is that it is the awareness, being aware or being familiar with various facts, like the radius of the earth, right? That's a fact. Okay, or information, right? Say, what are the requirements to complete HND? What is the pass mark of assignments? Those are information. Okay. Or skills acquired through experience or education. So knowledge can be certain skills that you acquire, but that is just to know how to do it, right? Like knowing how to draw a circle. That is also knowledge. Okay, so knowledge is at that level. So if you consider the characteristics of knowledge, right? Now, say knowledge is basically, as I said, is at surface level. So it involves just memorizing, remembering, and recalling, taking out, getting out information, say without necessarily comprehending its deeper implications. So without really requiring you, or say having a need to know, or to feel the real meanings of this, just recalling. Okay, so that is sometimes happens, like especially as I mentioned, many of these older days, these quizzes like this, who wants to be a millionaire or Lakshapati type of scenarios, right? It was simply to recall what it is, remember the correct answer, and being able to say it. Okay, but nowadays I see a bit more challenging questions being asked. So they have to recall the things, but also just by recalling cannot answer. They have to think carefully, analyze deeply, then judge the answer and say. So for such scenarios, surface knowledge, only having surface knowledge is not enough. Okay, and however, say we require this kind of knowledge also. So don't assume knowledge is not important. Okay, so knowledge is important, but you have to know what it is. So when we talk about knowledge, so knowing is at usually at surface level. Okay, and this is generally static. Static means not changing. Okay, so it is a fact, and that is a fact. You just put it in your brain and keep it. Okay, so that depends on the information that you receive. right? You receive it from somewhere, somebody tells you, you read it from somewhere, okay, or it is there on a, say, maybe in a YouTube video, that is again somebody is telling you, right? So you receive it from somewhere, okay, so that information you receive and you keep it, that is knowledge. Okay, so you know so many things, right? Probably countless things. You can't even remember what you know. It's a huge amount of things that you already know. Okay. And these are valuable and you are keeping it in your memory. Okay. Here are a few examples. Knowing the capital of a country, right? Say capital of uh, Malaysia, what it is. Okay. That kind of knowledge, or knowing the steps in a procedure. Okay. Remember tea making? No, it was not. Nobody knew it. Okay. So just knowing. So that kind of a thing you might get from a cookbook and just know it. So that is kind of knowledge that you may have used in many of your exams. Just remember the things, write it back. Okay. And of course, generally we don't feel a difference between knowledge and understand, but now onwards, I I I suggest you to know the difference. Okay, because you have to understand some things, including understanding what you should understand and what you have to know in terms of remembering. Okay, both things are necessary. And in many cases, understanding helps you a lot comparatively because with, say, little amount of knowledge, right, you can do a lot of things if you have understanding. So if I refer back to our previous example, so if you had to know everything, then all those 3 points, the initial 3 points, that is the equation, then the radius of the Earth, then antipodal point, and even the distance from the point to Colombo. All of these things you should have remembered. Okay. But you can see, if you have the understanding by remembering first 3 points, you can generate the third knowledge, fourth knowledge, right? But by remembering the first 3 points without remembering the fourth point, you can generate the fourth. Okay, so by doing that, you reduce the requirement of remembering the fourth point. Now that is a simple example, right? But when you come to learning, this is going to be really useful because the requirement of remembering, the amount of things you have to remember gets reduced significantly when you have the understanding. But for the understanding, certain things you will definitely have to remember. So those things you have to figure out. Okay, these are the knowledge components I should maintain, and this is the understanding I should acquire. Okay, so that is the skill that you should be developing, right? So the understanding, therefore, is defined like this simply, right? So grasping meanings, getting the meanings of various things. Then significance, like how important, how valuable a certain thing is, right? And the underlying principles of information. Principles means the kind of rules, laws, why the things are happening, right? So understanding of why, what, and the relationships, the principles of such information. Right. So having these to enable you to apply those into different situations, like applying that equation to different situation. Now, Earth. Now, in the exam, you might be given a radius of a circle is this much. What is the circumference? Then you can simply uh, utilize the equation, do the calculation, and answer. Right. So that is at a very low level of understanding is needed. But understanding that you can apply the same for the situation of this Earth question is more deeper, that level of application. Okay. Then to analyze various things, to get answers for them, generating new knowledge. And there's another thing called synthesizing. Synthesizing means combining different knowledge together to generate new knowledge. Okay, we did that. The first question. I mean, to the fourth question in the first slide. Okay, that is understanding. Okay, so the characteristic of understanding is that first is the depth. So it involves deeper mental functions. Mental functions is the things that you do with your brain, right? Rather than just say storing information, right? You go deeper. You use more advanced functions of your brain, right? To see relationships and connections between different information that you receive. And here it is dynamic, not static. Now, say mere knowledge is static. You just get it, record it, and that is that. That is it, right? So dynamic means you actually adjust your knowledge, right, from the further information that you receive, and you're based on your own analysis, right, and your thinking. Right, you record it first, then when you understand, you do further analysis and sometimes adjust what you first recorded. So that is changing, dynamic. Right? And there are insights and interpretations. You interpret, you give the meanings. You say come up with the idea about it, your interpretation. Right? You give a meaning to the information that you receive. Right, and you make insights about it. You make, okay, because of this and that, this should be like this. You create insight, you draw insights about what you receive, or from the information that you receive. Right, so that is how you create your understanding, like in these examples given, why the Earth orbits the sun, why it goes around the sun. Right? We know that it goes around the sun. That is the knowledge that we have received. Is it? Well, sun is going around us. Think about it, right? So the understanding why it is happening is more deeper, right? Then understanding, as you did, how to derive and apply the formula for the area of a circle. Now we did it for a circumference. Okay. Then for the area, that is understanding. Intelligence is, as I mentioned, it is not the next level or deeper level, but it is about you, right? That is your ability to learn, understand, and apply knowledge and skills. Right? So it is your capacity for logical reasoning, that is, say, the logic, like this has happened when this happens, and that has happened because of that thing happened. Because of that, this should happen when the first thing happens. So that is your logical reasoning. Right? Then your ability to solve problems when there is an issue, a problem. Okay. So it's not you get a solution that is given by somebody. You come up with your own solution. But when you're doing that, of course, you might analyze other people's solutions, then say make your own logical judgments about how it should be adjusted to well suit your specific problem. That is intelligence. Then being able to think critically rather than just taking it, right? Always question why, how do we know that, right? Are we sure about this? Thinking critically. So that is the nature of intelligence. So all of us have intelligence. However, our intelligence capacities may be different, but all of us have intelligence. Okay, so there we have these characteristics like adaptive thinking, right? That is, say, being able to get used to, right? Change your thinking to new situations, new information, new issues, new problems, and come up with new solution, novel solutions for problems. Right? Adaptive thinking rather than reapply an already given solution. That is simple knowledge, just applying it. Okay, direct application of basic knowledge, surface knowledge. But intelligence is um, giving you more ability uh, to do things. Okay, problem solving. I explained this to you, ability to solve problems. So there are also this critical and logical reasoning skills are necessary. Then, of course, the learning capability. So learning capability is part of your intelligence, your ability to learn, right? Your ability to acquire new knowledge and apply that. Okay, so that's why some people are quick in learning new languages. Rather than remembering everything in the language, they generate the logical reasoning of various things, how things are constructed in that language, right? So they remember certain level of things, but with that few amount of things, they can do a lot of things because of the intelligence they use in there. Okay, so that's why you can come up with new strategies, new solutions for previously unforeseen challenge. Now this happens, or you have done this, right? This is not a new thing to you. Okay, in your day-to-day life, you have tackled many such challenges. That means you have intelligence. Okay, so what we do is, or what we try to do today is to see how you can reach your best potential of understanding while maximizing your intelligence. Okay. Hope those things are clear to you. I will talk about wisdom later. Okay. So before I move to learning styles, any questions from this area? Because this basic understanding is needed. Just the source says, but it's about just knowing. What is the difference between that knowing and understanding and the role of intelligence in there? So those are the three things you have to have say understood by now. Understood by now. Okay, I believe that is simple enough for you to understand those. Okay, so with that understanding, we can move on to understand your learning styles. You need to understand your own learning style. That is very important. Okay, so there are, say, sort of formally established by educationists and psychologists, etc., a certain few different learning styles. Okay, so let's try to, you try to figure out what your style is. Okay, there are visual learners. That is one of the styles. Visual learners. So the visual learners prefer images like diagrams, right? Or sometimes even photographs rather than a description. Okay, or maps or charts, right? So when you see these things, right, you first can acquire the knowledge, then you can acquire the understanding. Okay, and you remember these visual details better. You can recall them better. Okay, now you can think of it whether you are a good visual learner or not, right? Say, for example, if say think of something that you learned at your school during your school days, right? So do you remember, but you had to think of something that was both in a diagram and also in a description, right? So do you remember the diagram best or the description best or the definition best? Okay, so what is the level of your visual learning ability? Are you very good in remembering this, or can you recall them those easily, right? Can you, when a relationship is shown, can you understand? Because usually in a diagram we see that kind of relationships, right? So were you able to understand? Okay, so maybe when you are learning science, you may have say learned various uh, say systems in our human body, right? Respiratory system, digestive system, circulatory system, right? Likewise, various systems. So were you just able to remember what is what, just to name them? Or were you able to also understand how they are connected? What are the relationship between or among various different elements on these in these systems? So how good or how effective or how useful this diagram for you to generate first the knowledge, then you understand it. So if you are good in visual learner, focus on these tips. Use flashcards with images or diagrams. You know flashcards? While you are learning, you can create, or sometimes for certain subjects you can find, but for, of course, for QS subjects, probably you will have to create them. Okay, so if you uh,
Excuse me, sir.
yes,
Sir, I am not really feeling well now. I am feeling nauseous. Can I leave please?
okay, that's okay. I'm recording this, so you can have a look at it later.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So you can use flashcards. Flashcards are, say, on a card, you have a question on one side, right? Uh, and say maybe a diagram or image, right? And on the other side of the card, you write what it means and what you have to capture from that image. Say, for example, say now a building element, right? A certain component of an air conditioning unit. Now, those are the things that you have to remember. Okay. So if it is then it is knowledge level, just to remember. Then you can maybe print a photograph of that component on one side. Then on the other side, you write what it is. Okay. But if you have to have a deeper thing, you need to understand how or what is the usefulness of it and how it is connected to other things. Okay. Then you can write the description also of that and keep it. Right. So while you are learning, you create these flashcards for the important things that you need to understand or remember. So if it is remember only the remember type of answer. If it is understand level, then understand level of description has to be there. Okay. So while you are learning, you gradually create this and keep it in a box or something. Maybe you can sort it for this topic. These are the flashcards. For this topic, these are the flashcards. Okay. Then later when you say when you are tired with whatever the work that you do, you take one set of flashcards, then randomly take one, look at the picture, think of the answer, turn the other side and see whether your answer is right. Simple as that. Okay. Or there are things called rich pictures. Rich pictures are just making a drawing that tells the story. So rich pictures are really useful for understanding. Because understanding is the picture or the story. You know the story. It's the understanding. Story means how things happen, how the things are connected, what is the logic behind that, and all these things. So you can generate pictures to explain those. Okay, so if you are interested in visual learning, read about rich pictures and learn how to generate them. Then there are things called mind maps, where you simply generate idea and the connected ideas, and for them the further connected ideas. That kind of tools are there. Then the flow charts, flow diagrams, that kind of say options are there for you to use. Right? And another practice you should use is highlighting the notes with say different colors based on uh, certain legend that you use. Okay, for this kind of things, this color; for this kind of thing, this color. And focus on watching video tutorials, etc., which are going to be really effective if you are a visual learner. But you have to recognize whether you are a visual learner or not. So I explained that part also to you. Right. Then there are auditory learners. So they learn basically through listening. Right. So they are good in remembering and understanding when somebody explains. Okay. So obviously, then you have to focus on listening to your lecturer and relying on that um, for learning. Okay. Then say there are certain podcasts, but not for the different subjects. Podcast is on online kind of resources that you can listen to, right? But of course, nowadays you don't have to really go for such online podcasts, right? If you have digital notes, that means software, soft copies of any notes, right? There are mobile software or mobile apps which you can install and add this, say, for example, if it is a PDF file or a Word file, you can add this Word file to the app, and app will read it out for you. So if you are an auditory learner, you can do it. I'm kind of auditory learner, so I often do this. I have that app on my phone. Um, that is, I had two app actually. Uh, One is called at sign in the email address at voice app, and the other I can't remember the name of the other one. It's smart. No, I can't remember. Not that one. I actually use at voice, but it is bit of a complicated app. There's another one. If you are interested, I can find, but you can just search and find. Uh, then it's very important for you to participate in group discussions. Okay, I used to do this a lot when I was a university student, that is undergraduate student. My primary mode of learning or improving my skills was that I in fact was quite poor in reading. So I used to go and sleep uh, at my friend's boarding place. You call the chamari. Yeah, many students get together and rent a house and live there. So I used to go there and sleep in one of their beds while they are studying. That is when they are reading the notes, etc. And when they start discussing the topics only, I ask them to wake me up, right? So because I'm very poor in the other type of learning. So that time I did not know about these theoretical things, but at least with the experience I knew. I also read, but that is not very effective, like say reading sleeplessly. So I sleeping was better than reading when I'm very sleepy, right? So that is how I did. But I don't say you should do that, okay? Uh, but you have to know um, at what you are best. Okay, so participating in group discussions is very important if you are auditory learn. That is, if you can learn by listening to others, participate in discussions, and you also like when you say something, it is also like listening. Okay, you are listening to yourself when you're saying something. So therefore, when you're participating in the discussion, you also have to say the things that comes to your mind, right? And you may have used certain rhymes. Uh, uh, songs and acronyms, right? This in chemistry for the table, you may have had a certain song or something, right? From the very first letters of the song, you identify the chemicals, right? So that kind of things are there. So remember, because say if you're auditory, you can remember the songs, poems, rhymes, and certain statements that you use, right? Okay, so create that kind of things for the things that you have to remember, especially for the things you have to remember, because there are things you will have to remember, right? You have to remember those. Okay, so create that kind of things and use. Okay, then there are reading and writing learners. So for them, they have read and write. So basically, sometimes they just copy from here to there. You may have done this, right? Sometimes read, remember, and write back. That is good. But sometimes it is not even read, remember, and write back, right? And sometimes it is even effective just to write while reading. So if it works for you, of course, you are clearly you're having you can have a combination of characteristics, right? So you have this characteristic of reading and writing learners. Right. So generally, if you are a reading and writing learner, you will know that you are good at taking detailed notes, right? Very comprehensive notes. So you are a reading and writing learner. So if you are reading and writing learner, so these are few tips actually. Of course, I cannot cover everything, but few tips I collected here. Make sure that you take comprehensive notes during lectures. So if you are an auditory learner, don't focus on taking comprehensive lectures, right? But focus a lot on listening. Okay, because if you try to take comprehensive notes, then you will miss, because your talent is listening. Okay, but if you are a combination of auditory and reading writing, of course you can take detailed notes together. But if you are more of a reading writing learner, focus on taking detailed notes and understand things later. Okay, get a deeper understanding later. But if you are an auditory learner, understand it then and there. Okay, so actually we expect the auditory learners mostly to ask the questions. So we have to have a group, that's why. So different students will have different characteristics, right? So that is a mix. So if somebody is not asking question, not talking much in at a lecture, so we cannot say that person is not good and not participating, etc. Okay, that's okay. So don't think, okay, that person, others are not speaking, then I also should not speak, because others may be more of reading, writing learners. So they focus on that. Okay, but if you are an auditory learner, so ask questions more of understanding nature. So auditory learners will ask more understanding type of questions. But of course, reading, writing learners will also ask questions. What kind of questions they would ask? They would ask for more details, because they see details are not enough. So both categories will ask questions, but probably different in nature. We need all different types of students, because then only it will become a quite effective learning environment. Okay, so you or reading, writing learners take comprehensive notes during lectures, then rewrite the notes. That is a good thing to do. So take the notes, then rewrite the notes, and probably make short notes. Okay, and there are other practices like maintaining a journal or what we call diaries. So for the things that you learn every day, sometimes for especially for the things that you did not receive any kind of notes or did not was not having a session, like you can directly take lectures, but after the session you write in this journal what things discussed, what kind of things you understood from there, what kind of things you learn. So keep writing the things, even though lecture note is not what you have taken down. Right? Read textbooks, because textbooks present knowledge quite in a good manner that you can understand. Then creates various lists of things. Again, kind of summarizing, but say lists are sort of easy to recall. Bullet points, right? So that is what you usually do when you do short notes. Okay, do that kind of things if you are a reading and writing learner. Then there's another type of learner uh, that is say kinesthetic learners. Okay, so the kinesthetic learners have the characteristic that they learn best through hands-on activities. Okay, doing the things or really experience the things. So you might learn best through that kind of activities. So you remember your experience very well. So you remember the things by doing and experiencing the things. Okay, so if you are that kind of, then focus more on engaging in practical sessions and other practical exercises, and in your case, especially the field visits, going to construction sites, then other offices where they conduct their jobs, right? So say be a lot more interested in that, and of course, say if you can make your own arrangements to visit to such places on your own. Not to be large construction sites, even for a house construction. Say if there's somebody building a house uh, on your street, a neighbor or some of your relative, uncle or auntie, or is building a house, make it a case time to time visit that. It will be really effective. Everybody is having these kind of characteristics. All four different characteristics are there, right? But some are stronger, some are less stronger. So you have to identify what is stronger in you and pay more attention to make use of that to the best possible level. Right. So another thing you can do if you are a kinesthetic learner is that you can use a lot of physical objects for your learning, uh, including say various models. Right. There are digital tools you saw in the software session also. So associate these digital tools to create models that you can interact with. Okay, that will become really effective. And of course, if you are that nature, it is also important that you take frequent breaks when you're interacting with these things and move around, because you need the time for the things that you capture to properly be analyzed in your brain and properly deposited in there. Okay, if you continually experience only, then things will not go into your brain effectively. So you experience something, take a break, and we say reflect on that. Think of it. How it worked, right? What you did, how it worked, why it worked like that. Reflect on it. Then come back to the experience. So this reflection process will properly establish your understanding. Okay, so from there now you can identify there are various effective study techniques when you are say when you focus on these different learning approaches. Okay, so you have to use a blend of techniques. It's not one technique, right? So because all these things are there with you. I don't say only few are there with you. All these things are there with you, but some are weaker, some are stronger. But for certain type of knowledge and certain type of understanding, sometimes it is only, say, the weaker method is available. Then you have to use that. Okay, but with understanding that how you might capture it will be again weaker, and take necessary steps to make sure that you understand it. Okay, maybe something is only there in a lecture note, which is a printed one. Okay, or it is a handwritten one. You could not attend the lecture. Your friend has taken the notes, and who is reading writing learner, a very good note, and it is what he has sent to you, right? But you are a auditory learner. You are quite poor in reading writing, but Currently, you only have the lecture note. Then you have to go with the reading writing style. Okay, even though you are not strong in that. Okay, but you have to know you have the weakness. So you have to make sure when such a situation, um, say maybe read it several times, or maybe after reading discuss with friends. Then you convert it to auditory. Okay, so come up with a strategy to make sure that you learn at your best level. Okay, time management is also important. Okay, you have to have a proper study schedule. I think some of you may already have had one, because of course this is very often used by students when they get ready for a challenging exam like advanced level, a competitive exam like advanced level, right? So have a schedule. Okay, so when you make the schedule, always think of your study style and the available resources. Okay, where you have, as I mentioned, if the lecture note is on is only in a handwritten format, if you can't find another thing that can subsidize you, so that is what you have. Okay, so when you are scheduling it, know that it is different from you have been able to listen to it or something, right? So then appropriately allocate time for that. Okay, so therefore you can have a regular plan, a generic plan, but uh, then in shorter time intervals, you have to have a short-term plan based on what is in your hand that you want to learn and understand. Okay, then prioritize your tasks and set your goals. When you're setting your goals, of course, you should have your overall goal of your future. Right? Also has to be there in your background, and also completing this HND at your best, while also aligning with your own goals. Okay, whether you want to become a content server at consultancy firm, or whether you want to have your own quantity surveying business, like providing services to some other country, or whether you want to become a specialist in managing problems or the disputes among different contractors and clients maybe. So various other options are there. So while you are going through this program, if you did not know these things, you will come to know these things, right? So you can set your overall goal and align your learning to that. But of course, you should understand your academic performance in this program is also kind of a competitive element when you go to the industry. So make sure that you complete this HND also at your best possible level. And balancing the study time with appropriate number of breaks uh, within the study time, and of course engaging in other activities other than learning, whatever you like, the things that brings you joy, relaxation. Okay, that is also important, right? Then also know the tools and resources available for you through your learning process. So of course, the major resource or most valuable resource that you get to have in this program is the expert panel of lecturers that you're getting uh, for this, for your area, that is quantity survey, because of the access that we have to the best resource persons that we can have from the profession. and also from the academia in quantity survey. Okay, so make best use of it. Then the lecture notes and handouts given by the respective lecturers. Then we also have a library where you can access to find some useful books and some other sample documents for various aspects of your learning. And of course, there are a lot of resources online nowadays. So the resources are actually abundant, right? Almost unlimited. So it's quite easy to find necessary information. But understanding is within you, right? Information you can capture. Okay, but of course, in online resources, there are articles, books even, or sometimes say simple guidelines, etc., that can support your understanding. Okay, and as I explained, in terms of tools, currently you can use a lot of digital tools rather than manual tools, like say doing a rich picture on a paper. You can do, right? You can use manual flashcards, small cards created by you on cardboard, etc. But in addition to that, there are digital tools, right? Computerized tools, some tools that you can use on your mobile phone, online tools, etc. are there. Okay, so you can go for those. So look for this. Now you are in the academia, uh, higher education, right? Not in academia, in higher education, support getting into the academic work, right? And say, as I said, online information about these tools are also available. So find those information and learn about them, then figure out, judge, have a logical reasoning. This is what is I should be doing. Okay. Then another aspect that we should think of is your motivation and the well-being. Both are important. Okay. Only the motivation is not enough. So well-being is also very important if you want to succeed in this, right? So first about staying motivation. So staying motivation is important. Okay. So setting short-term and long-term goals. I mentioned this earlier also is one important aspect of staying motivated so that you know I want to achieve this. So to do this, I should go forward, right? So there you have a long-term vision for you, a goal set for you. Then you break it down. Okay, first I will do this, and after that I will do that. Then I do that. Likewise, you plan. Maybe while you go forward, of course, you will have to change these short-term goals because you set these short-term goals, even your long-term goal, with say lesser understanding now. So when you develop further understanding, you refine your goals, you refine your long-term goal, long-term vision for your life, and also you adjust, especially your short-term goals, right? Because with the understanding, you can set better goals or more reliable, more realistic goals, right? And it is also important that you celebrate your small achievements. You set a small short-term goal, right? So once you achieve it, don't go to achieve the next goal, but celebrate this, right? Enjoy it. Okay. You can do it alone or maybe with somebody. Right? That's fine. Say you can say you achieve a short-term goal and now you're happy, right? Then you can tell your father, Tati, I did this, so shall we watch a movie? So you sit down at your computer or in front of the television and watch a movie. Okay. Right. So, or maybe go out or say visit a friend, something, do something that brings you a bit of joy. And you may not have to tell that you achieved it, or you may tell them what they achieved, but say inside you, you enjoy that. Right? So it is always important you stay connected with your peers. That means the fellows, that is your friends. Okay, and the people who can guide you, your mentors, your parents, right, and your lecturer. So anybody, anyone who is more experienced than you, who can guide you, your mentors, or somebody who is wiser than you, maybe, who can guide you. So stay connected with them. So that will also become necessary when you celebrate your small achievements. Also, it is quite good, but say when you celebrate together with those, then you will get further motivated, and especially if it is with the mentors, then they will also say guide you for setting your next goal properly. Okay, during that session. So this is very important. Staying motivated and how to. Okay, then the well-being and the balance is also very important. Okay, so the importance of your physical health, including sleeping good enough, doing proper exercise, and having nutrition. Now, don't judge nutrition by the price of your food. Okay, it's a balance that you can have, right? Very often, most of you can pluck some leaves from the garden of yourself, or you can plant some in pots if you don't have a garden, and have some leaves with your meals, which will bring good nutrition. Likewise, it is basically have a good balanced meal. Then your mental health, and also uh, being aware when you get stressed, right? Then, because you had to first be aware, you should know, okay, I'm getting stressed, right? If you don't become aware, this is risky. So uh, develop the skill of understanding when you are getting stressed, rather than waiting until you got stressed and give up everything and all the things, right? So then say to get away from that, how to manage it, while also doing what you have to do, but with a balance. Okay, so you have to identify how to do this. If you can't do it yourself, of course you can get help of a mentor that who can support you. Okay, then you should identify certain techniques of relaxation, and quite often nowadays you may hear the concept of mindfulness, right? Um, so it is a mindfulness is related to relaxation, but it's a bit more deeper, right? It is a kind of mental practice, right? So the key aspects of it is that say it's very much like the meditation, in my understanding, as how the Buddha has, or Lord Buddha has explained. That may have other origins also. But it's basically becoming aware about the present situation, present moment, right? Pay attention to the present situation, uh, current situation, right? Rather than say thinking of the past, what happened, this happened, all that. Just focus on the present situation. Okay, then say not to worry about the future. Just pay attention to the present scenario. Okay, and it has to be a non-judgmental kind of a observation, right? You don't judge this is good, this is bad. No, right? Right. So you observe your thoughts, what you think, what you feel, right? Without kind of labeling them as good or bad. Just know what you think. Just know what you feel, right? You might feel cold. Just know it is cold, but don't think whether it is good or bad. Okay, so while you are doing this, you might feel hungry. So just know that you are feeling hungry, but don't think feeling hungry is good or bad. Just understand you feel hungry. That's all. Right? So then accept it. So accept the feeling as they are without trying to change them or push them away. I'm feeling hungry. Yes, I'm hungry. I don't try to push away the idea that I'm hungry. It's just hungry. I understand that. Okay, so that is a good training that you can give to your brain uh, that can help you learning at your best. Okay. So with that, I come to the end of what I planned to discuss with you under the topic. Okay. Learning at your best. Do you have any questions? Okay. So I believe then what I explained is clear. Now, from here onwards, I will talk about few more things, taking a little extra time because to address some of the questions that you ask in few previous sessions. Okay, so this is a bonus. Okay, so it will take a bit more time, but I think that time is valuable. Okay, so since you're at home, if you're hungry, of course, know that you're hungry, then you can ask your mother to give you some food, and while having that, you can listen to this. Unfortunately, I can't do that, but you can do it. Okay, but stay, right? This one. The challenge that you actually identified, one of you actually identified this in one of our early sessions. Artificial intelligence. Now, AI is seems to be acquiring a lot of things of various practices or various professions, as they say. So, how you should prepare yourself in this learning process to meet these challenges. Okay. So it is important that you understand the difference between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. Okay. So here I will explain actually because of the question that you asked, I wanted to discuss this, and I'm also not an expert of artificial intelligence, right? Even human intelligence to say, but since I'm conducting this session, I have gathered some information, and I want to discuss those with you. Okay. So the comparative understanding is comparative understanding. Okay, understand. So the difference, comparison, human intelligence and artificial. Human intelligence is what you have. Artificial intelligence is what you see in these sources. Like initially, uh, everybody came to know about this quite well with the ChatGPT introduction, but AI has been there even before that. But when it became popular was with ChatGPT, right? After that, several other popular tools are there, right? So with that intelligence, because sometimes when you ask a question, or if you say just say ask the exam question in ChatGPT, you might get so surprised that it gives a very good answer. Then you might feel okay. Now that is there, we are useless. Okay, yes. If you think like that, you are useless. You have to now understand what you should be doing. Then you will not be. Okay. So the origin and the nature, where it comes from. human intelligence and artificial intelligence, right? So artificial intelligence is created by humans, obviously, right? So, so AI refers to certain systems or maybe machines, right? That sort of mimic, mimicking means is like, say, you may have done these games, right? Say, like you you are given a certain name, say a lecturer. So you take from a box, uh, and you see this when you open the paper, you see lecturer. Then you have to mimic a lecturer. That means you have to sort of act like a lecturer, and others have to guess. That kind of game, mimicking games, mimic games you may have played, right? So that is mimicking. That is, say, act similar manner, right? So it is something created by human, right? Humans, maybe a system like computer system, or maybe a machine that mimics the human intelligence. So act like the human intelligence and perform certain tasks. Okay, so these systems are designed through various uh, algorithms, right? Like, say, programming thing, just think of it. Okay. Um, so, and are powered by these computational processes. That is what the computers can do. Right? Computational processes are very much like mathematical things, right? Computational. Right? So using that kind of things, it is a mimicking of the human intelligence. Right? So the human intelligence is naturally occurring. So that is coming from nature, right? So it is the say mental, or we say cognitive. We use the word cognitive. So that is something to do with brain, right? So it is the cognitive ability or capability that is inherent to humans, right? Allowing them to learn from their experience, right? What they see, what they hear, what they touch, their experience, right? And adapt to new situations. They can adapt to new situations with the knowledge they have. Okay. It's different from this artificial intelligence, which is already has to be created. Okay. Then say the humans have this ability to understand complex concepts on their own, right? And apply knowledge in practical ways, as we realize. Okay, and that is the difference between uh, the AI and HI. HI is the human intelligence. Okay, that is about where it comes from. Okay, then the processing capabilities. Now, talking about processing capabilities, AI can process data, huge amount of data at very high speeds, right? So they can process a vast amount of data at very high speed and analyze them, okay, very quickly. So AI excels in specific, well-defined tasks in this area, right? Very specific and defined tasks, and can handle, say, those tasks very efficiently. And human intelligence, of course, process information relatively slowly. Okay, relatively slowly, but we can integrate our sensory inputs in addition to the data that we process, right? Our sensory inputs like our vision, feeling, touch, and all these things. Then our emotions, right? Gut feelings and what we call abstract thinking, right? Just say think of overall things and say generate a very basic thinking of something rather than analyzing everything. Okay, so we combine those things together with, even though our processing capability is slower, right, to come up with a valuable outputs. Right, so the humans are better in dealing with ambiguity, that is, say, not having clear information. Right, so we are good in that and understanding context. AI can't do this. Okay, so understand that difference, right? So what AI can do, what it can't do, and what we are good at comparatively. Okay, then in terms of adaptability, it in say change yourself to suit the scenario, right? So AI systems can be designed to learn and adapt within the confines of their programming and data input. So AI can get change according to the requirement, and they can be programmed to do so, right? So therefore, their adaptability is limited to the data they have been trained on. So the AI systems are trained on data, right? So within that, they can adjust themselves to suit the scenario. Okay, but human can adapt to a wide range of situations, right? And they can learn from minimal data and say apply knowledge creatively across different contexts. Okay, so that is another important point. So human needs actually very minimum data. AI need large amount of data. So they are trained using huge amount of data, which is forming the information for them. Okay, but sometimes we need only one information. With that, we can do a lot of things. Okay, understand that difference. Then creativity and innovation. There's a still there's a difference, but you can see AI can generate a lot of creative things, right? So it can generate these new things within the parameters given, because you have to always remember somebody has to make that programming happen, right? So so within that they can generate creative things. So only thing is their creativity is always to be derived from existing things. Okay. So if they generate say new image, that is still derived from studying many other images. Okay. So therefore it is not really original, 100% original. Right? So human creativity is more profound and involving a lot of say emotions going in, intuition, that is gut feelings going in, and combined with the experience. Right? So that allows them to generate novel ideas, new ideas, and solutions beyond the existing patterns. That's the difference. Okay, beyond the existing patterns. So AI actually generates all the solution within the existing patterns of solution. So if you simply learn the solutions and reuse the solutions, of course, AI also can do that. Okay. what you have to do is you should become able to come up with more better new solutions. You have to come to that level. That's why knowledge alone is not enough. You have to have the understanding and combine that with what is called wisdom. Okay. Then in terms of various factors like emotional understanding, that is say actually not to a good extent, but of course AI can recognize the emotions like using natural language processing, but not to the best level that human can do, right? So emotional intelligence is a very important element that you should develop in yourself to become successful, because that is something it will be challenging for AI to fully mimic. Okay. Then there are other things like dependence and autonomy, right? So AI is dependent on the human inputs, right? So there is no true autonomy, that is self-control, self uh, with them, right? But humans are autonomous beings. We are our own king, right? And error and judgment, right? So AI is making decisions based on data algorithms, right? Which can sometimes lead to errors, right? If the data is biased or limited or incomplete, right? So it lacks the ability to judge that from the human um, level. Humans also can make errors, different types of errors, right? Due to biases, emotions, or sometimes incomplete information. But humans are also capable of exercising judgment, learning from mistakes, and adjusting their decisions accordingly. Okay, so do mistakes, learn from mistakes. Don't worry to make mistakes. Now, okay, but at a certain level, you have to minimize that. So know what AI can do and AI can't do, right? Then plan to make the best use of what AI can do. Okay, use AI, make the best use of what AI can do. Then on top of that, you add what AI can't do. That's the key for survival with the new challenge. Okay, I hope you got that idea. Then I skip this wisdom, the ultimate. So wisdom is defined as the ability to make sound judgment and decisions based on knowledge, experiences, and understanding involves a deep, intuitive understanding of life and human nature. So this is basically not only having the understanding but make sound judgments. Okay, so you can see judgment and insights involve making decisions that are not only logically sound but also ethically and morally appropriate. We talked about ethics and morals previously, remember? So it's not just what is sort of theoretically or technically the solution, but also what is the ethical and moral solution. Okay, so this is very much of experience based with the understanding. So it draws heavily on your personal and shared experience. So try to expose yourself and experience yourself directly, and also always try to get to know about other people's experiences, which will contribute to your wisdom. And of course, it is always thinking holistically, right? Don't just look at one thing only, but say overall systematic view of everything, right? A complete awareness about this world. I mean, you don't have to know everything, but say connect everything to everything in this world that you know about. That will lead you to wisdom. Okay, so a few examples of usage of wisdom is like, especially when you provide professional advice as a QS for a certain investment decision, right? Understanding subtle differences between uh, human relationships, right? Then say balancing your personal goals with the well-being of others and the society at large, which will showcase your wisdom. Okay, so it is an important element when you become a chartered quantity survey. Okay, it's your pathway to your ultimate wisdom. So a chartered quantity survey is a corporate or full member of Institute of Quantity Surveyors, and they are considered to be reliable experts, not just experts, reliable experts to get advice on various expertise areas they are having. So it's not just advice of expertise, but reliable advice. Why reliable? The advice is given with wisdom. So correct advice that is suitable for the client himself, the person who's getting that, then also ethical and moral for the society at large and for the people who are affected by that. Okay. And also say the best positive impact to the client himself or herself. So there are many other aspects of it. So that is the nature of a chartered QS advice compared to any other QS. Okay, to reach that level, you have to acquire wisdom on the subject of quantity surveying or related to, because you can see it is not only quantity surveying, but relating quantity surveying to the whole world. Okay, so as a pathway for you, you are joining this HND program. So few different pathways are there, but primarily I can talk about two pathways. That is, you complete this HND. Okay, so once you complete this HND, you can join, but the professional level examinations of the IQSSL. Okay. So these professional level examinations are part-time, and you should be employed at the time as a quantity surveyor, a certain level of a quantity surveyor somewhere. And say there's a study program happening in the weekends, and you follow the study program. Okay, so it is part-time, 3 years program, but part-time. So while you're working, you can do it. So we don't push this knowledge very hard on you, gradually. Uh, and we are considering an adjustment to that, but we will let you know. But for the moment, that 3 year part-time program is there. So once you complete this part-time program, you are not getting any specific academic kind of a qualification, but of course, we will give you a transcript and because that is not saying a degree or something. No, that's professional exams. However, it is a certification that you can get that you have actually acquired that skills, knowledge and skills. Okay. So after that, you have to maintain experience with under a supervision of a chartered quantity survey for 3 years. Okay, and after that we have an examination from the IQSSL called Assessment of Professional Competency, which includes certain tasks that you have to perform and face an interview, a viva was it, right? Where we challenge you with various professional like questions or tasks or say situations or context we give you and ask you to come up with explain us the solution that you can offer, that kind of a activity. So it's not I wouldn't say it's a simple thing or easy thing, right? But say if you have developed yourselves to that skill level, of course you can succeed in that. Then you can become a chartered quantity surveyor. Okay, that pathway is there. But the other pathway that you can take is after completion of this HND, it is recognized by many foreign universities who are offering local their degrees locally and also in their own countries. So you can enter into their final year. Those are 3-year degree programs, so you can skip the first 2 years and enter into the final year. We call the top-up year, right? So you can enter into that those programs and complete the degree. So once you complete the degree, then the IQSSL has graduate member qualifying exam, GMQE. Why you may have to take those is because currently if there is no any program that is actively called accredited. Okay, accredited means the IQSL has given a recognition to them as say qualified to direct graduate membership, so that those institutes have to apply and show their programs, quality assurance systems, etc., and get approved. Then only they will be given this accreditation. Currently, some already had got one, but they are yet to renew, right? So currently, you don't have a private degree except this University of Morato degree is effectively or actively accredited for the moment. But others are likely to take it. So when you complete this one, there would be others you can go to, right? So you complete this top-up degree, then get the QS degree. Then if it is accredited, you can directly become a graduate member. If they are not accredited, then you can do IQSL, this GMQ exam. Many students have sat and passed this. Then you can become a graduate member. So after becoming a graduate member, you can also have experience under a chartered quantity survey, working under a chartered quantity survey. Then appear this APC. Okay, same path. So 2 different paths. Okay, so that question also was there. So I believe I responded all the questions that you had, taken another 30 minutes extra. But if you have further questions, I can give you a few more minutes, 2-3 minutes only. Any question? You can't talk because you're eating, no? Okay. So if you don't have any questions, then we can conclude. I believe you got a good guidance on how you should approach to become a vice QS. Not the vice QS as a vice president, a vice or intelligent one. Okay. Okay, then let's conclude it for today. Good night, everybody.
Good night, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.